Happy Valentine's Day, Tigers. Welcome to On the Prowl. I'm Ashley, and this is Evan and Amy.
So your fun fact to start off today is actually a Clemson-related fun fact this week, courtesy of our football SID, Mr. Tim Beret. He says that on Valentine's Day, the day itself, Clemson men's basketball has won 24 games on this date, more than any other date on the calendar.
Also on Valentine's Day in 1952, the 6th Olympic Games started in Oslo, Norway. So we have officially 4 days until opening day in Doug Kingsmore Stadium.
Not Raymond James.
Not Raymond James. The game on Friday will begin at 4 p.m. The game on Saturday will begin at 2 and Sunday at 1 o'clock. So be sure to go support our team as they take on Wright State.
The women's basketball team earned a road win against Pitt on Thursday with the final score of 54-46. Both teams had trouble shooting the ball, but Clemson out-rebounded the Panthers by 14 to give them the offensive edge. Sadly, Clemson couldn't contain 16th-ranked Miami's hot shooting on Sunday, falling to the Hurricanes 57-81. With the loss, the Tigers are 14-11. They'll be back in Littlejohn this Thursday to finish out the regular season against Notre Dame at 7 p.m. The game against the 7th-ranked team in the country will be the annual Play for K breast cancer awareness game. Be sure to support our Tigers and cancer research by going to the game this Thursday.
Well, it's that time again where I have to tell you all the bad things that have happened with the men's basketball team in the past week. So we'll start with probably what was the worst loss last week. Last week we told you they were playing Syracuse about an hour after we went off the air. We told you to go out and support and watch that game, and obviously you didn't listen to us because they lost on a buzzer beater. Tyus Battle hit a three-pointer from the corner, and Syracuse won 82-81.
6 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Dante Grantham hit a floater in the lane to put us up by 2, so that was nice, and that didn't last very long, so go men's basketball. That dropped the men's basketball team to 13-10 overall, 3-8 in the ACC. That was Syracuse's first victory against the Tigers since the 2013-2014 season. Jerron Blossom game was your leading scorer with 20 points. So they followed that up later in the week with a loss in Cameron Indoor Stadium to 18th-ranked Duke on Saturday. Another close one, 64-62. Our comeback upset effort was unsuccessful. We failed to convert on the last possession of the game. It was our turn to shoot a buzzer beater, and we just couldn't do it. So 2 losses in a row this week for Clemson men's basketball. That drops them to 13-11, 3-9 in the ACC. Shelton Mitchell scored a career-high 23 points against Duke, with 21 of those coming in the second half. And they tip off in about an hour against Wake Forest in Littlejohn.
So the track and field team had another outstanding weekend. The overall performances in the Tiger Paw Invitational did not disappoint, as 8 facility records were met. So 24 student athletes finished with times better than previous records. So John Lewis's performance was perhaps the most impressive of Clemson's efforts, given he returned to the track just 2 weeks after suffering an injury in the offseason. This sophomore ran the 2nd fastest time in program history and now ranks 14th in the nation with his 2nd place 800-meter time with a time of 1 minute and 48 seconds, which is flying. Also, Ursula Farrow received another personal record last weekend in the Tiger Paw Invitational. Farrow clocked in at 2 minutes and 5 seconds to take 2nd place in the event. Her time ranks her 14th in the nation and 3rd all-time. Lastly, Sabria Hadley bettered her position in Clemson history, advancing to 4th in the 200-meter dash with a time of 23.25 seconds. This time was good enough for 2nd place and moves her on to 12th in the country. There were various other national records and personal records set last weekend, and we can't wait to see what the Tigers have coming up for us next. The Tigers just have 1 meet remaining until their championship season, as Clemson will host the Tiger Tune-Up as the last chance meet on Friday, February 17th.
Last week I told you that the men's tennis team marched into Tuscaloosa and got handed a loss. Things didn't get much better for them. They lost at home to number 24 Old Dominion this past Sunday by a score of 4-0. That drops their overall team record to 7-2, and they are now on a 2-match losing streak. I told you last week about freshman phenom Carlos Caletis being undefeated. That didn't last very much longer. I jinxed him. Sorry about that, Carlos. He suffered his first loss of the season on Sunday as well. The men's tennis team will be back in action this coming Sunday at noon at Miami. So if you're willing to go on a road trip, they could really use the support. On the women's side of things, things are bad to worse for the women's, unfortunately. They played this past Sunday at home against number 21 South Carolina, and they lost by a touchdown 7-0. So not much good news coming out of the women's tennis team on Sunday. 5 out of the 6 singles matches went to a third set, which in tennis terms means they were really close. The way a women's tennis match works is you play 3 sets. Whoever wins 2 out of the 3 wins that match. So close matches across the board against the number 21 ranked Gamecocks. The women's tennis team will play again this Saturday in Winston-Salem as they play at Wake Forest at 11 a.m.
Phew. The women's golf team tied for first place with Miami at the UCF Challenge in Eagle Creek Golf Club in Orlando, Florida last week. It marks the first tournament championship in the 4-year history of the Clemson women's golf team. So congrats to them.
Golf clap.
Also, Clemson's women's diving team is in Atlanta this entire week for the ACC championship. So far, 3 Tigers have placed in the top 25, which is unheard of for Clemson. The team has scored 27 points total and will continue to compete through Thursday. It is a 17-point improvement from the Tigers' team score of 10 points in the 3-meter a year ago. So that's awesome for our diving team.
Nice job.
Our sophomore diver, Sarah Blank, took 11th place, scoring 16 team points for the Clemson diving team in the 3-meter competition at the 2017 ACC Diving Championships on Monday at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center in Atlanta. That is 16 of the 25 total points. So kudos to Sarah Blank.
I'm not good at math, but that's a majority, I think.
Yes, and good luck to our diving team for the rest of the week.
So that wraps up last week's sports news for you here on campus. So now, as we normally would do, we would have our final Prowl segment in which we would have a question that we would all take a minute or two to answer. But this week, since it's Valentine's Day and we're deciding to celebrate, we're playing what we're going to call the Game of Hearts, in which we are each going to present 2 different topics, and we're going to write on these nifty whiteboards, courtesy of Tigervision. Thank you so much. Whether we love or don't love whatever one of us has to say. So, who would like to start?
I'll start.
Sure.
So, obviously, the Super Bowl was 2 weekends ago,
Right.
and we did not get to mention it on the show last week.
Sorry, Falcons fans.
Our first topic of the night is going to be the Super Bowl. So we're all going to either write a heart or a broken heart on our boards and discuss why. So.
Excuse the lack
The
of
art,
Yeah.
No, we're not art
Artists.
majors.
We're not artists by any
Not
means.
comm
but-
majors.
So I think we're all going to have the same basic drawing, just somewhat differently. Obviously, going to go with a broken heart because not a lot of people like to see the Patriots win just because they're good. That's kind of the nature of the beast when you're a good team.
True.
Obviously, if you're from New England or Boston or your last name is Brady or Belichick, you're not drawing a broken heart right now.
Right.
Historic comeback, well played in the second half by the Patriots, but pull for the Falcons because I'm a roommate from Atlanta, so I hated to see them lose.
And a couple of Clemson players who were
Oh,
Falcons
right.
also.
Of
Vic
course.
Beasley being one of them,
Yeah.
and we also have a former Clemson coach who's on staff for the Falcons.
I will
So-
draw a heart for Grady Jarrett. He did tie the Super Bowl record for sacks, so
Yeah.
I
That
will
was
give a heart for
impressive.
Grady
So,
Jarrett.
I mean, my main reason for drawing a broken heart is definitely the fact that we have Clemson players representing us for the Falcons, and it was heartbreaking to see them up by so much in the beginning and then come back and win it
Literally
all. So-
heartbroken.
Yes.
Heartbroken.
Okay, so I guess I'll go next. So on kind of the same topic of football, we told you about all the new recruits last week, how some of them are on campus and how some of them just signed. So let's talk about how next year's football team is shaping up. Obviously, we're going to have a couple of key absences as far as important players from the past couple of seasons. So it's going to be a different looking unit on the field this fall. But we'll just kind of talk about what we think about this year's football team.
I'll go first for this one because I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to draw a heart with question marks because I'm really not sure
It's
how this
complicated.
season is going to go.
It's
I have a complicated relationship with Clemson football right now.
Right.
Obviously I'm really sad to see some of our awesome players go, like Deshaun Watson, Mike Williams, Ben Boulware, all of them. And it's really sad because I feel like being a student at Clemson University, you kind of have a relationship with all of these players and then to see them go. Obviously,
Right.
you want to see them succeed, but then you have to worry about the next season.
Yes.
And I do think we have a lot of great recruits coming in. You know, their stats are unreal, but I'm a little worried about next season. I think Florida State's going to be tough. I think Auburn's going to be tough. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go with a heart with an arrow in it, and you might be thinking, well, you're not an engineering major. You obviously don't know that's the direction a heart or an arrow goes, excuse me, and it's not. The arrow is actually coming out instead of going in because the arrow represents Mike Williams and Deshaun Watson and Ben Boulware and some of the other players that will be losing. So even though my heart is full and I'm hopeful for this year's team, I think there's a lot of young talent. I think a lot of the guys that we might have redshirted from last year are going to show out. I'm still obviously very sad about losing probably the greatest quarterback in Clemson history and one of the greatest wide receivers in Clemson history. So sad, but also optimistic.
Well, I don't have a unique opinion here.
We all cheated.
Yeah, obviously every football season is exciting and you want to get in Death Valley and cheer on your team, but it is hard to see such great players go. So my topic is, how does men's basketball make us feel? Clemson men's basketball. Does it make you happy or break your heart? Can I have the eraser?
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to go first. And my heart's not just broken, it's completely separated, like not even close, opposite sides of the spectrum here. Especially with the two most recent losses that we mentioned earlier, with a buzzer beater loss in Little John last Tuesday against Syracuse, and then a comeback, hopeful upset against Duke and Cameron, also unsuccessful. So I feel like this team it could be there. 3-9 in the ACC doesn't look very good. I think they're better than that suggests. I read something the other day on Twitter that said that all of our ACC losses have been by a combined like 16 points or something like that. So we're there. We're just not quite over the hump. And I just feel like that's how Clemson basketball is always for me. So it's a broken heart, and it's a fairly decently broken heart.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go next because I think I'm going to shock you guys a little bit. I'm going to actually draw a beating heart this time.
All right.
I have a lot of heart and soul that goes into our Clemson basketball team. As I've mentioned before, I have a former classmate, Lyles Davis, who was a walk-on for the Clemson basketball team. And, you know, I know how much effort they put into this. And being an athlete in high school, I know how frustrating it is to be on a team that's just not quite there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've been in situations where we have been like 2 points from making it to a state cheerleading competition or one event away from making it to a state track and field meet. Mm-hmm. And I think that they are trying. I think they're putting a ton of effort in. So I'm going to put a heart because, you know, regardless, they do attend Clemson. We're also students at Clemson, so no matter what, I'm going to support them.
You didn't watch the Syracuse game, did you?
I did, but I'm just saying.
All right, that's fair.
I put several broken hearts because it is just so, like you said, it's so frustrating to watch them lose by just a few or several points every game, and it just takes a toll on my heart. So I have several broken hearts about that.
You're a basketball girl at heart, too.
Yes,
so
I
I'm
am.
sure that has a lot to do with it. So my next topic is going to be opening day for our Clemson Tigers, which is this Friday. So I'll go first for this one too, because obviously I'm going to put a heart. I love baseball. I have grown up watching baseball, watching my brother play baseball. I actually played softball. I did not draw softball. I played softball growing up, and I have always enjoyed watching Clemson's baseball team. I think it's my second favorite sport at Clemson, and I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm just really excited. I think we have a lot to look forward to, especially being the ACC champions last year. I think our team's going to be really good. We still have Seth Beer.
Still have Seth Beer, as we mentioned. So this is a crudely drawn version of the pink beating heart emoji. Very poorly drawn, I might add. But yeah, baseball, kind of a big deal around here. I think if you look at the turnouts and attendance at Doug Kingsmore, sometimes there's pretty good crowds for some pretty good games. Obviously, we have a pretty good team. We've had a pretty good team for a while now, and they're going to be good again. So they're always fun to watch. Went to a couple games last year, probably not enough, so I'll try to go to some more this year. But definitely optimistic about the baseball team, and baseball is just a great sport anyway. So go Tigers.
I also drew an emoji. I think mine was first. But
Yeah, no, I didn't copy. I didn't know it. You mentioned.
I'm excited because I've never been to a game as a student, obviously, and so I'm excited to go to games, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It will be a lot of fun.
And maybe we can even get some players on the show sometime.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
And yeah.
tvision@g.clemson.edu. Email us.
Okay, so I apparently have 2 football topics. Mentioned next year's team, how they're going to look. So now I think we told you about the new facility, how that might help out with some of the recruits. So now we're gonna draw our emotions, I guess, towards the features of the new facility. Most notably, of course, the slide, but also the nap room, the mini golf, the bowling, the basketball, the whatever else they have that I'm not even cool enough to know about.
I'm going to go first again. I apologize, guys.
No, you're
So
fine.
I did 5 hearts times 1,000. I'm also really partial towards the new football
Is that
facility.
5,000 hearts?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
5 million in my mind, but I actually was able to work on this new facility all last year. I had an internship with the football field, or the football
The
stadium.
football field. You're working with the football field.
Yeah, I worked in the West End Zone, and more specifically, I worked under Jeff Davis for the Paul Journey. So I got to see all of the background work that went into it, all of the designs. I've watched it come from scratch. And then as soon as it opened, I was one of the first people in there. I got to go down the slide and explore the locker room. And I think it's an incredible thing that Clemson's brought, and I think it's going to do a lot for Clemson.
All right, you're not done drawing yours yet, so I'll go.
Thanks.
This is a heart with a lot of squiggly lines through it, and that is a visual representation of me loving it, but also me going grrr because I don't get to go in it. Like I said, I'm not cool enough to go in there.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day, but I'm extremely jealous. But it's also like you can't not like it because it's just super cool. Yeah,
It is a cool place.
it is a cool place.
Obviously, I have a heart because that's pretty cool, but I have a broken heart for the soccer fields. Didn't they have to use soccer fields to make the facility?
I didn't think
Yes, and
about
I
that.
have actually,
Yeah.
I've driven by the new soccer fields a couple
Okay.
times, and it's where the tailgating spots used to be. I think it
Oh,
was
well
lot
then-
12.
Sad face
So-
for tailgating.
Yeah, because I know my family used to tailgate in lot 12, and we got moved all the way to Hendricks.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Wow.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
so
Well done.
mostly a heart, but there's got to be some sacrifice, some give and take for that. So
Right.
a little shout out for them, their little
Go soccer
sadness.
team.
And then our last, what is it called? Game of Hearts
Game of
topic. Just our overall opinion of Valentine's. Do you love it? Do you hate it?
Oh man. Oh
What is it?
God. I don't know what to draw for this.
I personally love it.
of course you
Even
do.
though it's I love getting gifts, and so even in elementary school, I would love when they'd make the little teeny Valentines with little candy, and so I've always liked Valentine's Day. What about you, Ash?
I'm going to do a broken heart with a big X through it. I think it's
Ouch.
a stereotypical Hallmark holiday. And personally, I'm not a huge fan of Hallmark to begin with. I think the movies are really cheesy, and I think it's kind of just an excuse to waste money. And, I'm sure I'd be a little different if I had a reason to like it. But
Yeah.
for right now, I'm not a huge fan of Valentine's Day, except for the fact that I've gotten a ton of chocolate today. So.
Agreed.
Okay, this is like a Pablo Picasso-esque type of artwork. This is a heart filled with question marks, surrounded by question marks, and then the comment, this side, sorry, but candy. So
I mean,
I'm
can
not,
you argue with the
No,
candy?
I'm not a huge fan of Valentine's Day either. I think it's silly. I just think if you love somebody that much, you don't need a day to dictate when to tell them that. So
Valid.
that just means you're not doing a good enough job the other 364 days. But there's a lot of good candy that's going to be on sale tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to swing by to
Ooh, that's
Walgreens and
true.
pick up
Yes.
Get me
some
some.
good candy. So
50-cent candy.
Can't argue with the candy aspect, but I can't argue with the silliness of the holiday as a concept anyway.
Well, thank you for that game, Evan. And be on the lookout for our show next week. We actually have a guest speaker, Danielle Edwards, who is on our varsity women's basketball team. She is a sophomore, and she has actually played every single game since she has been here. So, as always, thanks for watching.
Follow us on Twitter, @CBOTP.
Thanks
Yes,
for
do
watching,
follow us.
and
Go
go
Tigers.
Tigers!